Hi, and welcome to Down from the Attic. I'm Luke, and each week I come in my attic, have a look around and try and find something interesting and cool to show you. Wizards, magic spells, wands, making potions, ever-changing corridors. No, I'm not talking about Harry Potter. This is Master Labyrinth by Ravensburger, and this game is a ton of fun. The box for the game goes simplistic with the lid. Even as a child, I realised that this was the advanced version of the game. This one was for the big kids. Still, I love the art on the front. Each of these wizards is showing how well the game is going for them. I love how the red wizard in the foreground is giving a sneaky wink to the players. The chap in the middle certainly seems amused by the antics, much to the annoyance of the wizard on the left. This nicely parodies how you, as players, will end up reacting as you play. The back of the box shows a fair bit of information, obviously as the blurb to lure the potential buyers and players in. You've got the magic formula that will make you the master magician. But where can you find the rare ingredient you need? Off you go into the labyrinth. But be careful, the winding corridors shift constantly, and it's easy to get lost. The back of the box also gives a brief overview of the game rules, as well as the contents, and a particular nice inclusion, the duration of an average game. Setting up the game can take a couple of minutes, but once it's done, visually it looks really impressive. The main board has these tile pieces fixed in place. They act as runners for the rest of the tile pieces to move between, and this will become more apparent as we go on. The players lay the tiles in on the game board. The instructions say to lay the board tiles face up, but wily veterans of the game might, accidentally on purpose, lay out a nice snaking corridor to make things easier for them when they start. Laying the tiles face down and flipping them over prevents this from happening. It takes a few minutes longer, but it keeps it fair and random. You may have noticed there's a tile left over, and no, this isn't a spare. I'll explain this soon. Next, you take the 21 ingredient tokens and lay them face down on the board in this pattern shown in the instructions, then flip them over, again keeping the spread of them random and fair. Each player is dealt one secret formula card and 3 magic wands. The secret formula cards show 3 ingredients, and each card is different. No 2 cards have the same combination. Cards will invariably contain ingredients that both you and your opponents will be after. Before we move on to the rules and how to play, I just want to praise the art of the game board and the pieces. Wonderful watercolour painted pieces, fantastically themed. The board has this intriguing Celtic rune pattern to the centre of it that's never seen whilst playing. It's always covered with the tiles. In fact, the whole main board is never seen. They could have left this as a blank piece of card with the tiles fixed on, but the fact that I went to the effort to paint and design this isn't ignored by me. The tile pieces are equally impressive for their dedication. Every single one is different. I've laid them out and looked at them, and although there's only 3 different types, straight corridor, corner and T-junction, the books, potions and bric-a-brac around the shelves are all totally different. The game manufacturers could have gone the quick, cheap and easy route by having one design and printing it multiple times, but they didn't. This shows quality. Hats off to Ravensburger. The instruction manual is also wonderfully illustrated. It's just a pity it's in black and white. There are 21 magic items in the labyrinth, but they can only be picked up in numerical order. The wizard who gets to item number 1 first may keep it, then all the wizards race to number 2. An interesting addition to this instruction manual is a brief historical overview of each of the ingredients. These are based in real life history and the supposed magical properties of each of them. What attention to detail again. Ravensburger getting full 10 out of 10 for theming. This absolutely wasn't needed, but just adds that little something special. Number 15. If a weasel spit at you, you might break in 2 or go blind, but the bones of a white weasel could be used to make you invisible. Wow, I never knew that. I'm staying clear of weasels from now on. Number 4. Oil from black slugs was used to heal wounds. I think I'll stick with a bandage. I will say number 19 always looked like an orangutan under a palm tree. Apparently it's supposed to be a mandrake. Players make their way around the board collecting the ingredient tokens in numerical order, but each player is secretly wanting to get the ingredients on their card. Moving the player pieces doesn't require a dice roll. In fact, there's no dice for this game at all. If the corridors are open for you to travel from one side of the board to the other, you can do. Now on to what makes this game really special. The moving labyrinth. As mentioned before, there was one extra game tile, and this is important for the movement of the labyrinth. At the start of each turn, you push the free tile into the side of the game board. The points where you can push are indicated by these little white arrows. Handy to have those, as there's always one player who tries to push against the tiles that are fixed to the board. Pushing the free tile in will cause that row of tiles to move, the board to change, and a tile to pop out from the other side. You're then free to move your piece if you're able to, and pick up ingredient number 1. As the game progresses, the board will shift dramatically from how it started out, and you'll need to think carefully about your move. This game requires a lot of forward thinking. Visioning how the board will look once you move a row of tiles is a key component to winning, and you won't always see the best move you can make until it's too late. Strategy is key to this game. You need to keep corridors open to you. It's easy to get walled in and stuck by your opponents. A tactical move to stop you from getting ingredient tokens. Before taking your turn, it's wise to think whether you can get to the next token, or whether it be sensible to try and block your opponent's path towards it. Yes, it's one of these types of games where you can really throw a spanner in the works for other players. I particularly love games where you can be vindictive and slide towards opponents. There are a number of additional rules to moving the labyrinth. The most important is that you can't immediately reverse the previous player's move, which just aids with the whole backstabbing side of the game. Another important rule, say for example your playpiece is on the edge of the board, and pushing this tile in here causes a tile with your playpiece on to pop out of the board. What happens? The token you need to collect is all the way on the other side of the board. With this move, you can hop right over there and collect it, or likewise, bring the token to you. Such moves can also help you if the other players have walled you in. It's a neat mechanic, and in the focus of trying to create corridors to move to tokens, it's one that can be quite easily overlooked. Moving doesn't just restrict you to picking up one ingredient token. If you're clever enough to create a corridor that allows you to pick up multiple tokens, you can do, provided they're picked up in order. It's enjoyable to set up a play that opens up one of these scenarios for you. I do wonder and question if the designers of the game were inspired by the 1980s Labyrinth movie with David Bowie. There's a lot of similar elements, especially with the moving labyrinth. Mentioned before, each player gets 3 magic wands. You can use these at any time, and they give the player another turn. You can't chain these up so you can have, say, 4 turns, but having the option at any time to take another turn to move the labyrinth to your advantage is a great addition, and requires careful thinking and planning as when to best use them. The game progresses until all the ingredient tokens are collected, then the game ends. One thing I've always found unusual with this game is, there's 21 ingredient tokens, but the 21st one is number 25. What's the reasoning behind this? Well, in the instruction manual, they say that the person who picks up the last token is awarded bonus points, but the token before that is 20, so the bonus points are only 5 points. That's not a massive windfall of extra points there. Who is winner is determined by counting up tokens. 1 is worth 1 point, 2 is worth 2, and so on. Towards the end of the game, everyone is racing to get those high point ingredients. Ah, but what about the ingredient cards? For every ingredient that you pick up that's on your card, you're awarded an additional 20 points, in addition to the number on the token. So with the potential of getting an additional 60 points, going for your ingredients is important. The winner is the player with the most points. This is the Master set. There's a standard labyrinth game which doesn't have the ingredient tokens. The ingredients are printed in place on the tiles. Players are dealt 3 ingredient cards, and they place them face down so other players can't see them, and then they race to get to those tiles first. It's a simpler version, and personally, I prefer the Master set, though I can see the standard version being easier for young children. Master Labyrinth is still being produced, but it has again been refined since this iteration. The 2007 edition has the addition of a Labyrinth Guardian and a Dragon. You have to battle with them in order to win your ingredient tokens. I've not played this version, but I'm interested to see how it works. Here's a game I'd completely forgotten about before going back up into my attic, and it's bowled me over how enjoyable it is. This one is staying down. I've enjoyed it that much. It's quick to learn how to play and incredibly strategic. You can be trapped one moment and with one move the whole board opens up to you. Blocking routes off to your opponents is always satisfying, and seeing moves they couldn't see even more so. Everything about this game exudes quality. You can clearly tell that Ravensburger took the time and effort in refining and polishing and presenting this game. I really can't fault it. If you have a copy, dust it off and play it. If you don't have one, track one down. You honestly won't regret it. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.